Practical thing that Democrats can do right now that would help them regain power, it's never speak to Trump in person. No, I'm kidding, that's stupid. No, it's this. Inspire your moderates to vote in the primaries. Get that base excited. You have the numbers. After Congressman Moulton made his comment about his daughter not getting run over, he added, "But as a Democrat, I'm supposed to be afraid to say that." Well, then change what you're supposed to be afraid.
The DNC is in chaos, and Maher isn't holding back. Instead of showing pity for a party with no leader, no vision, and no clear message, he's torching them, calling out AOC and the Democrats for ignoring the hard lessons from their last crushing defeat, delivering his trademark sharp commentary that
the time. Why haven't you ever had Hillary or Bill Clinton on? Why didn't you have Kamala on during the last campaign? You think we don't ask? We ask these people every week. They say no. It took 8 years and a petition to get Obama on. And these are people, all people I voted for. Think about that. They're afraid to come on the show of a guy who voted for.
Maher opened by lamenting how the very party he's long supported with his vote, wallet, and influence has sidelined him for years, refusing to appear on Real Time with Bill Maher despite multiple invitations. He argued that Democrats avoid his platform because they're terrified of tough questions and unwilling to defend their fragile stances against real counter-arguments, retreating instead into their echo chamber and proving his point that the left has grown soft, insecure, and intellectually lazy. But then he raised the obvious follow-up: Republicans just as scared.
They show up, and when they do, they take their beating like a man. You went down to Mar-a-Lago and kissed his ass after that.
Oh, bullshit.
When the Mueller report came out, I feel like you mischaracterized it, and I feel that was shady. But you campaigned for election deniers in 2022. This I do not forgive. The Republicans, including you, January 6th, etc., are the ones who are no longer willing to play by the rules of democracy. It's Amendment 22. No person shall be elected to the office of the president more than twice. And yet you keep talking about Trump's third. Maybe you should have this.
Republicans have had their share of comebacks, some sharp, others clumsy, and a few that may have landed blows on Maher himself, but that isn't the focus here. The real takeaway is that win or lose, Republicans actually show up, sitting across from Maher, taking the heat, and engaging in debate even when their arguments fall flat or lack polish. That willingness to step into the ring despite the risk of stumbling shows a level of grit and accountability, and unlike their Democratic counterparts who hide behind safe spaces, they face the fire, and that alone speaks volumes.
AOC on the show, and Mandami and Elizabeth Warren. But I can't subpoena the guests, and I can't fix that what the Democrats are scared of more than anything else, I mean, obviously besides gluten, is being primaried from the far left, even though most Democrats are not far left. They're mild-mannered and moderate, at least at my bathhouse.
It's no secret the far left is steering the woke agenda, but what's alarming is how much louder and more influential they've become than the Democratic Party itself. Instead of standing firm on principle, the party bends to every demand, no matter how extreme, leaving the DNC looking spineless, more focused on appeasing the loudest activists than serving the broader American people. What the Democrats truly need isn't another figurehead bowing to the mob, but a leader with the courage and conviction to finally say enough and push back against the far left.
Democrats can do right now that would help them regain power, it's never speak to Trump in person. No, I'm kidding, that's stupid. No, it's this. Inspire your moderates to vote in the primaries. Get that base excited. You have the numbers. After Congressman Moulton made his comment about his daughter not getting run over, he added, "But as a Democrat, I'm supposed to be afraid to say that." Well, then change what you're supposed to be afraid.
Bill Maher's point couldn't be more accurate. In recent years, many moderates within the Democratic Party have quietly drifted toward the center or even to the right, feeling alienated by a party increasingly dominated by the far-left agenda. While many of these former loyalists wouldn't mind returning there, waiting for the DNC to show the courage to distance itself, at least in part, from the ideological grip of the woke fringe. Instead, the party continues to tiptoe around the far left like it's walking on eggshells. terrified of backlash and censorship for even the slightest act of defiance. Until the Democrats break free from this extremism, moderates will keep their distance, leaving the party trapped in a cycle of pandering and fear-driven politics.
Power and influence to be able to, like, usher in socialism?
He definitely has the power and influence to elect J.D. Vance or whoever is the Republican candidate next time. It is a walking commercial for the Republican Party
I think
nationally.
the Republicans are going to...
When you let the Democrat socialists, and now they're actually calling themselves socialists, when you let them take over a major American city, this is what...
So here's Bill Maher's blunt take. If the Democrats put forward Zoran Mandani as their standard-bearer in 2028, they might as well hand J.D. Vance the presidency on a silver platter. Maher argues that Mandana's brand of woke socialist policies could resonate with Gen Z voters who crave radical change. But the problem is, generational math. Gen Z isn't the largest voting bloc, while millennials, Gen X, and especially baby boomers still dominate the ballot box. And Maher believes Mandana's rhetoric would only push them further away. The bottom line is clear. Betting the party's future on a far-left figure like Mandani isn't bold strategy, it's political suicide, practically guaranteeing a Republican victory.
Who all they care about is controlling you. They're very good at diagnosing problems. They're very good at figuring out what your weak points are. And that's, I would argue, what a lot of these people are doing.
That's right.
They recognize that if you can focus on these problems, then you can, use that dissatisfaction to gain.
Mamdani isn't offering leadership, he's exploiting frustration. He takes real flaws in the system and weaponizes them, fueling anger and resentment instead of proposing practical, thoughtful solutions. His rhetoric follows the classic playbook: point fingers, inflame emotions, but never actually fix anything. And let's be honest, SOCIALISM, no matter how attractively packaged, has never produced prosperity anywhere it's been tried. Yet young voters, many without first-hand experience or knowledge of its failures, are swept away by Mandana's promises, mistaking lofty ideals for genuine progress while ignoring the inevitable consequences: economic stagnation, loss of freedoms, and deeper division. He isn't leading a movement toward solutions. He's selling a dangerous fantasy, and the youth are cheering without ever asking the hard questions.
You spent your whole life talking about how government tries to do too much, which it does, and spends too much. And here you have Trump, who is the Republican, who is aggrandizing more power than anybody, as we just talked about. And on the other side, you have the guy running in New York, Mandani, right? Okay, who's like a straight-up communist. I mean, he is. He talks about, the things that communists say. I mean, he wants free grocery stores, free buses.
I want him to win.
You want him to win?
Yeah. I think every 20 years or so.
Wait.
We need every 20 years or so, we need a conspicuous, confined experiment with socialism so we can crack it.
Some of us have studied history and know exactly what socialism leaves in its wake, and we have no desire to relive those consequences. So no, we're not praying for Mandani to win, far from it. Our hope is that more Democrats open their eyes before it's too late and realize the damage his leadership would inflict if he ever gained power. The warning signs are already clear. Policies that sound good in theory but collapse in practice. Promises that stir emotions but weaken the foundations of a healthy economy and free society. What we're really praying for is clarity for voters. To see beyond the lofty slogans and flashy rhetoric and recognize the long-term harm buried in Mandana's platform. If Democrats truly care about their party's survival, they'll stop him at the ballot box.
It used to be, workers of the world unite, you have nothing to lose but your chains. The new socialist slogan is, trust us, this time it won't be a mess. So, when the post-war Labour government in Britain was about to get started, one of their leading lights was a socialist named Nurian Bevan. He said, what could go wrong? He said, we have a nation bedded on coal, surrounded by fish. It would take an organizational genius to have a shortage of either. In 3 years, they had a shortage of both.
Socialism can look appealing, a utopian vision where everyone shares equally and no one is left behind, but in practice, it has always proven far worse than capitalism. For all its flaws, capitalism still rewards hard work, innovation, and determination. giving people the chance to create, earn, and build something for themselves and their families. Socialism flips that promise on its head, masking inequality behind the illusion of fairness while allowing a greedy elite to consolidate power. Ordinary people, no matter how hard they work, are left with little to show for their efforts. And the result isn't justice or prosperity but stagnation, resentment, and poverty dressed up as progress. Time and again, history has made it clear. Socialism doesn't uplift the masses, it traps.
That the saying is, when you're in a hole, stop digging, not keep digging. Talk about doubling down on what got you fucked in the first place. Even the one concession I've heard a few people on the losing side offer, that liberals should stop saying the Trump voters are stupid, comes with a kind of unspoken parentheses. We know they are stupid, just don't say it.
That's exactly how the left often views the right, as a group of ignorant, backward people incapable of basic reasoning. It's a stereotype they cling to, a convenient narrative that lets them dismiss conservative voices without ever engaging with the arguments. In their eyes, anyone who supports MAGA or holds right-leaning views must be uneducated, unenlightened, or morally deficient, while they elevate themselves as the wiser, more compassionate, morally superior class. But history has shown that this arrogance is their greatest weakness, because when you spend all your time looking down on your opponents, you underestimate them, and when you underestimate them, you lose. That's the left's blind spot, their self-congratulation blinds them to the very real frustrations driving millions of Americans, frustrations that no amount of smug moral posturing can erase.
A monopoly on stupid. You wear Queers for Palestine t-shirts and masks 2 years after the pandemic ended. And you can't define woman, I mean person who menstruates. You're the teachers' union education party, and you've turned schools and colleges into a joke. You just lost a crazy contest to an actual crazy person.
The problem with the Democratic Party and the far left isn't just their policies, it's their arrogance, their pandering, and their refusal to learn from history. From Bill Maher's warnings about the dangers of elevating woke socialists like Mondani to the growing alienation of moderates who feel abandoned, the writing is on the wall. Socialism may sound appealing on paper, but in practice it has only empowered elites while trapping ordinary people in poverty. Yet, blinded by suppliciousness, the left clings to the belief that they are morally superior while dismissing conservatives as ignorant. A hubris that has always led to their undoing. If Democrats keep bowing to the loudest activists instead of standing up for reason and balance, they won't just lose voters, they'll lose the future. America needs leaders with courage, not figureheads too afraid to say no to extremism. And with that, we wrap up today's video. If you enjoyed this commentary, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe for more content like this.